Hey traders, this is Taylor with Top Pick Trading. I want to give you guys your Wednesday chart review. It's Wednesday, June 5th, 2024, and this will be our lesson for the day. You can see we had a rather large uptrend today. Some really nice setups. We'll show y'all both the chart options today, both 2,000 tick charts with just an offset and how the ticks or the bars are forming. So let's get started on the primary chart here. Hopefully all y'all's charts look like this if you have break at end of day checked on your data series settings. So here we go. You can see through the overnight we had this little rangy type action, then we pushed up here, formed this nice trend line, maybe got a little bit of overshoot, led to a break of the other side, and you get this second entry long. There is some congestion there, so it's not perfect. I marked it aggressive, but it's a really nice reversal bar here, closing right above that EMA, expecting that this uptrend is probably going to at least get a retest. So notice also it's testing this previous little area here. So acted as support twice and rallied to a new high. Push up after the break, new high. Extend this. Come down with a downtrend. This actually may be tighter. This actually looks a little bit better. You get a break and a few legs down. It ends up forming this wider downtrend here. Very sideways through here, so I don't see much I like. Comes down. I think there was a 10 o'clock news item that started this huge sell-off. So you probably want to wait. Let's see. Yeah, it was this PMI number. So you may want to wait a couple minutes before this. And you can see how it went sideways right before that. A lot of times that'll happen pending a news about to come out. So it finally kind of gets back to normal right in here. You get this really small bar for a second entry, but it's just not all that clear to me. So I'd probably wait on that. It's above the EMA. Setup bar is massive. We come down, we get a lower high but no bar, and we get the new low after the break of this downtrend. Then we start this new uptrend up to the upside. It's really sideways in here, so I don't see much through here that I would take. The failure's right here, so below the EMA, and then gets really sideways. Ends up forming a nice trend line though. We come back, get a first entry here. Pushes up, appears we get a little overshoot. Get another new high right here, and then we get a first entry, and you get this second entry right here, but it's right into that EMA, and the bar is not all that great. It's a decent bar, but it's got that red body right into the EMA, so I would wait on that. Would have failed. Comes back, pushes above the EMA. You can start going really sideways here, and if you drew your wider trend line, it's kind of hard to know that it's a trend line because it's not really fitting off these couple of swings, but it does fit off that very next bar right here nicely. Hits it here and then confirms it here on a failed second entry right at the EMA. Also at this somewhat stable support level. We did break out of that a couple times, so it's also bouncing off this opening price level, which can reject prices one way or the other. It is sideways, so it's not perfect. You do got some room there. So if you want to be aggressive, maybe you take that one. Still not perfect, but it does act nicely as a failure. Pushes up. We come back. We get a first entry, second entry. This could be seen as a double top, and if you saw it that way, you would just see this as a first entry. But I think you're looking for reasons to go long at this point. It's bouncing right off that bigger key entry point that the trend channel that we just drew. So it's also at the 50% correction level of this strong little move here. Also a little bit of support there. We bounced here and then bounced here again. Right at the EMA, great bar, great setup bar. So I think that's a good trade to take. Still marked it aggressive because it does kind of look more like a first entry, but by the count, it technically is a second entry. So that would have worked nicely. Then we come back again, we get another second entry. This retest leg was pretty strong. It may already have a new high, but we're bouncing at that key entry point once again. It does close below the EMA, so it's also not perfect, but right at the bigger key entry point in the EMA on a very obvious two-legged correction. So I think you could take that one. It's not perfect on this chart. I'll show you on the second chart how nicely this area looked, but I think it's decent. Pushes higher, comes back here. You actually get a second entry right here, and I can see this probably tricking some people, but notice how this is clearly a break now. Usually this big channels will get a larger correction. So when you have this little baby break like this, it's usually better to wait for a bigger correction to play out. Notice also it's right into that resistance level. We turned to here once, tried to turn here again, bounced from the other side here, and then turned here a third time, so this will be the fourth time. Notice also the congestion here. You've got this doji type wick right here, and then you're just really stacking sideways. So there's some reasons to avoid that one. If you just looked at the bar and took it, I get it, but I would avoid. Chop sideways, breaks below. You get a failure here, but it's just kind of high up. So I don't really like that. The higher low is right into that same resistance level where we turned down, so I wouldn't have taken that one either. It pushes higher, chops sideways. You get a first entry, plays out, push back down, and at this point, when we bounced here, you would see that this spike and channel seems to be valid. There's also a couple other ways you can draw it. You could draw one like right in through here. That actually fits pretty nicely. It looks like maybe a break there, but that channel looks okay as well. There's several uptrends within this larger structure. We get a higher low, no bar. This hasn't played out yet, so once you start getting to about 75% correction all the way back up here, you know that this probably isn't going to retest. You get a second entry right here. Actually, it's still part of the first entry, so no setup either way. We come back and we get this higher low failure, confirming the second entry long. Closes so high up, it's a bit sideways through here. You're coming off the upper side of the spiking channel, and you wouldn't have this pink spiking channel confirmed yet. So I think you got to avoid that one. If you took it, I understand. It works nicely, but a couple reasons that I wanted to lay off that trade. EMA keeps holding, so I understand if you took it. But I avoided that one. Pushes out, right? Pushes all the way up, overshoots spiking channel. I don't see anything through here. Everything's just right into the high. And then we chop sideways, and then it's 330. So let's take a look at the second chart. Some really nice ones on this one today. Go through this kind of quickly. Uptrend looked a little bit different. Got an overshoot, no setup on this one. Overshoots again, comes down. Don't see anything through here. There's the news item, really sideways. Chops lower. And on this one, we get the failure right here. Notice how it's occurring right at that trend line too. It's hard to know if this trend line is going to hold after that overshoot. It could be potentially like a two-tiered. So I think it's a little risky. Bar's not that great anyway, and it's sideways. So works nicely. You get a higher low, but it's really far. Pushes up. You get a second entry. A little bit below the EMA, but on the first break of such a strong move like this, it's probably going to retest. So if you took a chance there on such a good bar, I understand. You may want to wait for a higher low. The higher low comes here, but terrible bar. Then you actually get this failure. First entry short, second entry short. It's also a first entry long, second entry long. Right at that EMA, a little bit sideways again, but somewhat bullish bar. So I think you can probably take that one. And then this one's also tempting. The reason I marked it orange, which means a bit too aggressive in my opinion, is because we came off that resistance level once again. And it's hard to know if this is being seen as a failure. It looks like it is, kind of a larger two-legged correction. So you have like, in general, a first entry short, second entry short failure. Bar's not all that great, so if it's a little bit better bar, maybe you take it. It's right at the EMA, and it also confirms the spiking channel, but I marked it orange. You may take it. Pushes up. You get a second entry. The bar's bad on this chart. Pushes up again. Confirms the upper side of the spiking channel. And then you get a first entry long, second entry long. So you can see on this chart how nice that second entry long look. This is really almost a perfect setup. It's also almost could be seen as a triple test. You pushed above this resistance level. It wasn't resistance yet, but you pushed down, confirmed it as support second time, third time. So triple test, second entry long, great setup bar, great signal bar, right at the EMA. Great trade. Pushes higher, chops sideways, nothing through here. Pushes out, first entry long, new high. Comes back, you get a higher low here, but I think that's aggressive because you don't know if this is going to retest yet. The spiking channel looked a little bit different on this one. This may not even be valid, to be honest. It could be like this with a break. Kind of harder to find the structure on this chart in particular. Could also be some other spiking channel. Hard to know, but you know that you're going higher, so we can play some of the shorter term stuff. So you come up here, you get this nice micro trend. You could see this as a break in new high as well, like this. But regardless, if you didn't, you see these consecutive bull bars mostly closing near their high. So a lot of the times when you retrace about 50% of that at the EMA, you can consider a long trade. And here you get one, you get a second entry long. This one's kind of congested. It's not a perfect setup, but you can clearly see second entry long. Could kind of see it as a triple test. Tested it once, twice, three times. I think this is a candidate for a limit because it does close pretty far up, but I like this trade in general. A little more aggressive because of that congestion. But if you drop the limit, you could have gotten a nice fill here. Pushes higher. You get a second entry long here, but it's hard, you don't have the spiking channel yet. It's hard to know what's valid through here. Nothing fits perfectly. Could even be this. So for that reason, I didn't take any of this stuff. It's really sideways through here too. You technically get a failure here, but just so sideways. So I think you got to avoid. Kind of far from the MA too. Pushes higher, overshoots this spiking channel just by a little bit. Chops sideways, pushes down into the 3:30 hour. So nothing else there. But some really good trades through here mid-morning. And then obviously the really great trade, the second entry long here. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. If you're interested in trading how we trade, check out our course, topicktrading.com. It's taught by our mentor, Eric. And it can really help you learn price action and be successful. So thanks for watching, guys, and we'll catch y'all on Friday. Bye.